Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 2007 Jeep Compass Limited. Up front is a 2.4 liter inline 4, and down below is a CVT. Now I am super excited to be driving this Jeep Compass today because I haven't driven this era or generation of Jeep Compass before. Now the Jeep Compass is still on sale today, but this was actually the first model year of the first Jeep Compass. And so today we're going to be talking about what Jeep did right with this, what they did wrong, and why it's a questionable vehicle at best. But if you'd like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. And if you'd like to see all my videos weeks or sometimes months in advance, you can head on over to my Patreon for only $5 a month. Last but not least, huge thank you to North Naperville Autos for letting me borrow their Jeep Compass for today's video. If you'd like to browse their inventory, you can do so down in the description below. But let's get back to that 2.4 liter inline 4. Well, that is where the problems start. That is known as the World 2.4 liter, meaning FCA, Chrysler, this is Stellantis, I believe, whatever conglomerate was running the show at the time, they tried to simplify their engine offerings around the world. And so this was put in some Fiats in South America. This was put in vehicles here like the Dodge Avenger and, of course, the Compass. It was put in a lot of different vehicles for a lot of different markets. They do have oil consumption issues. They're not exceedingly well built. They're fine. Look, 19 years and 90,000 miles later, it's still working, but that's all I can really give it in terms of greatness. Doesn't make great power, and that's not helped out by the transmission, but we'll talk about that in a second. It's just a very bleh engine, and that's gonna be the overarching feeling with this car. Now, like I said, paired to it is a CVT. Now, I know that CVT has become a swear word here on YouTube and with car reviews, and there's a good point to that. These are very unreliable transmissions. The idea of a CVT works fantastic and works perfectly on paper, but here in practice, especially in a vehicle that might get a little bit more abuse, a CVT is not what you want. Now, if you got this with a diesel in other markets, it would come with a traditional automatic transmission, but this is the CVT and it ain't good. Last but not least, this is 4-wheel drive. Now, you could find these in 2-wheel drive. This is the 4. It's fine. It is what it is. How does it feel to drive the Jeep Compass? Again, very, very average. It feels very basic. There's a lot of rattles and squeaks in here. It has a somewhat harsh ride, which I would expect out of Jeeps, but maybe not necessarily this Jeep, especially in its limited trim level. Visibility is okay. There's just not much really redeeming about it, or that I really say, you know what? That's okay. That's good. This is such a rental car experience. And I expected that going into it, but now I have to be behind the wheel for an hour to make a video, and I find it a little bit less charming in practice than in theory. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me I have 4 gauges. Off to the left is fuel and speedometer. Off to the right is the tachometer and coolant temperature. As you'll notice, the 2 main gauges have little compass markings on them, as if that would be helpful at all. On the steering wheel, we just have the Jeep badge and our cruise control stalk to the bottom right. And off to the left, we get a climate control vent. Moving on to the door, we get our power mirrors, power locks, and power windows. Moving into the center, we get our 2 climate control vents and our radio. This is the factory Jeep Compass radio. It works well enough, tune and volume and things like that. And a CD player, which was nice for '07. Then we get a cubby and our climate controls, where to send it off to the left, fan speed in the center, temperature off to the right. For the Limited, we also get heated seats, our traction control off, and hazard switch. And then we get the shifter. We can auto stick plus minus here on the shifter. Chrysler was big on this. The Pacifica of the same era had this same style shifter, so kind of interesting to see it here in the Jeep. Then we do get a 12-volt outlet. We get our 4-wheel drive lock, and we get 2 cup holders. So we'll do a big friggin' bottle test. The big friggin' bottle does sit in the little lip. You can notice that it goes down about an inch or 2. It will sit in there, but if you take a corner, it falls out. So unfortunately, I can't give the Jeep Compass a pass, but if we did half passes, I would happily give the Compass a half pass, but that's not how this test works. Then we have the handbrake, and we do get a center console with a wall outlet down below it. Very, very nice to see this here in the Jeep Compass. Love to see wall outlets in any cars, and this was kind of a big hip new thing for the 2000s. The Caliber had it, as well as the Pontiac Vibe had it, so sort of moving in that direction. But on top of the center console, Jeep was trying to be very forward thinking, and they actually offered you a flip out phone holder. Now, back in 2007, that was actually the year the iPhone debuted. Phones were usually pretty tall and slender. Think of the old Nokia phones. And so you would slide it in right here and have your phone at the ready. Now, technology has most certainly passed this up, so maybe you can put a hot dog from the gas station in here and have it ready to go at a moment's notice. I don't know. I'm just spitballing. The seats are comfortable. They are leather and heated. However, not power. So, heated but not power here in the Limited. Would have loved to have seen power seats. However, speaking of seats, we do have back seats. So let's go do a back seat review. All right, getting in the back of the Jeep Compass, and I never noticed that these door handles are actually up on the window. I never noticed that it has smooth. Why, when this car isn't very design influenced, did they do this? But there you go. That's how you get in. And oh boy. Well, the seat pattern carries on with the leather, but let's step inside. Just as I suspected. Not good. We do get cup holders down here, which is certainly nice. No center console. There's not a lot of redeeming qualities. We do get the sunroof. That's nice, and I could see through the headrest in case, you know, I don't know what I would do this for. Vertically, I fit pretty well. My knees are getting smashed. The driver could be nice and move up a little bit. It's just not a nice place to be. It's just not. Would I want to spend time back here? No. But also, like, we'll talk about build quality later. Let's take a look at the trunk. Coming around the back, we do get a nice Compass logo down there. Kind of interesting branding here from Jeep. But pull this up, and we do have some rear cargo space. First of all, we do have Jeep floor mats for the front. And then we get this, like, it's plastic, but it's supposed to look like diamond cut steel. This is probably the hardest core looking part of the Jeep. We can pull it up. You do get a spare tire, things like that. It's not quite a CRV table or anything like that. I would have liked to have seen a wall outlet back here. You got one on the front console, but I guess you don't get one back here. And then, of course, you can lower the second row if you'd really like to. No power tailgate here, but you do get a little handle. And there you go. That's the back of a Jeep Compass. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and I don't really love the look of this. I think it is very Jeep. I will give them credit for that. I think this is a very handsome Jeep-looking vehicle, but it's not awful. And growing up around these, you know, I remember going to the auto show as a kid, and when this debuted, you know, that was special. I remember these being brand new, and so that's kind of cool, but that's really where the looks kind of stop, is the nostalgia, so it's fine beyond that. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving the Jeep Compass? Well, if you could tell, I'm not a fan of this automobile. I'm fine with appliance cars. I'm fine. I actually really enjoy cars that are meant to fulfill a purpose for a very small price tag, get people where they need to go. And the Compass somewhat fulfills that now, but thinking of this car when it was brand new, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It honestly feels like a Compass that has lost its dial. It doesn't have a direction in which it really wants to go in, because you look at it and you go, Jeep. Jeep is very good at building off-road vehicles. This, at the time, was their only non-trail rated Jeep. This was their on-road Jeep. So it's not really Jeepy. So they went luxury. Well, it's not very luxurious. It has heated seats and cruise control, but that's about where the luxury ends. It's an SUV, but it's not really that big. If it's an economy car, or supposed to be an economy car, it's way too big to be that. And that engine, it goes back to that engine of trying to build one thing that will please everyone in the world. I don't think everyone in the world has ever agreed on anything ever. Why did Jeep think that their engine would be the savior and mending of cultures? Different markets require different things. That's why we see a lot of diesels in Europe. That's why we see a lot of smaller engines in Japan. So this car just doesn't really know what it wants to do, what it wants to be, how it wants to feel. And then the final straw that breaks this Compass's back is the fact that it's not well built. The dashboard is coming apart. The wheels are pitted. The plastic creaks and is scratched. And I know a lot of this is up to previous owner discretion, and from what appears, this no smoking logo, I have to assume it was a rental car. This probably lived a pretty hard life as a rental car. It's just not well built. I can get behind a car that doesn't have a specific purpose if at least it was built properly. But Jeep didn't even do that for us here. And so at the end of the day, it's just stuck in limbo. This car defies the phrase to be or to not to be, because this Jeep ends up being kind of being. And with that unreliable CVT, the poor build quality, yeah, I think we can pass on this one. And I think you should pass on this one. It's a cool look at a car that we don't really see much of on the road and will only become rarer. And I'm happy to have it on film, but what can I say? I don't think it's a good purchase. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to North Naperville Autos for letting me borrow their Jeep Compass. Please check out their other inventory. They have some awesome cars on the lot that are reliable, that are well built, that have low mileage. So please go check out those cars. They are absolutely wonderful to work with as well. They offer warranties and financing and shipping. So if you do want to buy this or another one of their vehicles, they will take care of you, and that is absolutely awesome. Please go check out their link down in the description below. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.